Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to study about the Vice President, his powers, how he is elected, and along with this, we'll study about the Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, how they are elected, what are the powers of the Prime Ministers, and how he works. Okay, so let's begin our class.
Vice President. Vice President is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He is also the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Now the qualifications. The qualifications for the president and the vice president are same. Okay. So he should be a citizen of India, 35 years of age at the time of elections. When he nominate himself for the election, that time he should be of 35 years of age. Not be an insolvent or bankrupt. He should not have any kind of loan on him or should not be declared as a defaulter by the bank. Then should not hold any office of profit under the central or the state government. He should not be doing any kind of job under the central or the state government. Not be a pronounced offender or a criminal under the law. And most importantly, he should not have any kind of criminal case or theft of or robbery case or any kind of case on his name. Okay, so this was these are the qualifications for the vice president. Now the next one is his elections. How the vice president is elected. He is elected jointly by both the houses of the parliament, that is the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and he is also elected for the period of 5 years. But no state legislatures is involved in his elections. As for the president, state legislatures are involved and both the houses are involved. But here, for the vice president, only the two houses will be involved in electing the vice president, not the state legislatures. Now, the elections consist of a secret ballot, proportional representation, and single transferable vote. One man, one vote, secret ballot, and a proportional representation. Now, to win the election, he should get the majority of the votes. Then only he will be the Vice President of India. Okay, now the functions of the Vice President of India. Functions of the Vice President of India. He is the ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. That means he is the member of the Rajya Sabha as well as the Speaker of the Rajya Sabha. So the Vice President of the Indian Union acts as the ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha elects its vice chairman only. So the vice chairman of Rajya Sabha is only be elected by the members of Rajya Sabha. The vice president gets no salary as the vice president. So being a vice president, he doesn't get any salary, but he's paid only because of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. As he is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, that's why he is given the salary. Then the next one is acting as the president of India. Now, vice president acts as a president only when the seat or the position of the president is vacant. In which conditions? At the time of casualty, any mishap, or at the time of resignation or the impeachment. If any of these things is there, then only the vice president takes a charge of president. Okay. Now the next one is the prime minister and his council of ministers. Indian president is only a nominal head of the state. See, the president is only the head is only a nominal head of the state, means that he's the head of the state, but all the work is done by the council of ministers headed by the prime ministers. His powers are exercised by the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Okay. Now, how the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers are appointed. The Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers are appointed by the President. The leader of the political party securing absolute majority in the Lok Sabha is appointed by the President as the Prime Minister. अब जिस भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी की पास सबसे ज़्यादा लोकसभा में मेजॉरिटी ऑफ सीट्स होंगी उसी पार्टी में से प्रेसिडेंट प्राइम मिनिस्टर चूज करते हैं. ओके, नाउ हाउ द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स आर बीइंग चूजन. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर प्रिपेयर्स अ लिस्ट ऑफ हिज कलीग्स. प्राइम मिनिस्टर खुद लिस्ट बनाते हैं कि हु विल गोइंग टू वर्क इन हिज टीम among the members of the parliament to be appointed as ministers. तो वो member of parliament में से अपनी team create करते हैं and he gives that list to president and president appoints them. Okay, I hope it's clear now. Now the tenure of office of the prime minister and the council of ministers are directly responsible to the Lok Sabha and can remain in office so long as they enjoy majority support in the House of the People. See, children, they are basically elected for the period of 5 years only. But if they regularly get the support in the Lok Sabha, okay, so they will remain in the post, we can say. Okay. Then the salary and allowances. Salary and allowances means extra benefits of the Prime Minister and those of the other ministers are decided by the Parliament from time to time. Then the three categories of ministers beside the Prime Minister. Other than Prime Minister, there are three categories of ministers. Number one, the cabinet ministers, which take part in the decision of the government. Then the ministers of state, they hold the independent ministries, but they cannot attend the cabinet meetings. वो अपनी अलग से इंडिपेंडेंट मिनिस्ट्रीज रन कर सकते हैं, मीटिंग्स अटेंड कर सकते हैं, बट दे कैन नॉट अटेंड द कैबिनेट मीटिंग्स. Then the deputy ministers, they assist the cabinet ministers and ministers of the state. They help them, they assist them. Okay. Now the position and the powers of the Prime Minister of India. He constitutes the Council of Ministers. He, the Prime Minister. Okay, he makes the Council of Ministers and he only assigns the work to the Council of Ministers. He supervises the working of all the ministers. सबके काम को वो check करते हैं. He is the link between the President and the Council of Ministers. उनके आपस का जो भी बात होती है, he is the mediator, we can say. Then the Prime Minister is the prime spokesman of the government. He is the main person who speaks for his government, for the work of the government. Then he presides over the meetings of the cabinet as well as those of the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister also advises the President on various appointments to important posts. He suggests or he advises the President that whom to appoint, when to appoint and at what post. Then he also advises the President to summon or dissolve the Lok Sabha, to pass any order or to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Okay children, so this is the last topic for this chapter. Now in your homework, you have to do question number 1, 3 and 5 of exercise E. So the question number 1 is, how are the President and the Vice President elected? Answer is President is elected by elected members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, elected members of the legislative assemblies of all the states. Now, Vice President is elected by jointly by both the houses. No state legislature is involved in his election. So this is your question number 1 and answer number 1. Question number 3 is, what are the chief powers or functions of the Prime Minister? Why is his position is important? Answer is, number 1, allocates work to the members of Council of Ministers, supervises the working of the ministers, link between the President and the Council of Ministers. Number 4, presides over the meetings of the Cabinet as well as those of the Council of Ministers. Number 5, he advises the President on various appointments to important posts. Now, since the Prime Minister has many responsibilities on his head, that's why he is considered important. Okay, so this was your question number 3 and answer number 3. Now the last question from this chapter, question number 5. Mention the various categories of the union ministers. Answer, cabinet ministers who take part in the decisions of the government, ministers of state hold independent ministries but they cannot attend cabinet meetings. Point number 3, deputy ministers assist the cabinet ministers and ministers of state. So children, please do your work in a very neat writing. Read the chapter very carefully. If you find any problem, please feel free to ask me. Ask your doubts. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you.